Ever since my video criticizing resellers, I've been getting a lot of attention for my channel, much good, some bad. I am here to reaffirm my stance against resellers because I see a lot of mental gymnastics and coping regarding rip-off resellers, shills, and elitists. I made it clear that not all resellers are rip-offs. In fact, I briefly mentioned it that it isn't fair to judge all resellers based on the actions of a few. There are resellers who do offer fair prices and actually have good ethics. The type of people who don't harm the hobby. But there are many people who took it personally, even though I criticize a specific type of reseller who are artificially raising prices and ripping people off. The kind of resellers who are changing retro gaming from a hobby to a costly luxury. And you know what? They could victimize themselves all they want and rationalize their rip-off practices. I ain't budging. The starting point to my criticism are their high prices. Resellers like Phoenix Resell like to raise their prices to where it is unreasonable. For example, a handful of his listings are going for much higher than what you can find on eBay. It varies, but in the most extreme cases, the games could be more than double the actual market price. From what I've seen, DK Oldies prices are nowhere near as bad when compared to what Phoenix Resell does. Very funny because DK Oldies is the affordable alternative of the two, and that's saying something. Mario Kart 64 shouldn't be selling for $100, and eBay search will show better results. Same with other games in the mix. Complete ripoffs because many of these games aren't rare or hard to find. Phoenix Resell's Amazon storefront is selling games much higher for the sake of greed. Price matching Phoenix Resell's games will usually be beat if looking elsewhere. Arguing that the market decides the price is utter folly because you got these scumbag resellers artificially inflating the price of used games for their financial greed. If anything, these high prices are only encouraging other resellers to do the same. Minecraft for the Xbox 360 can be found for way less on eBay, and Market Week will have a significant price reduction when looking elsewhere too. Phoenix Resell and many other resellers who are artificially raising their prices are destroying the hobby because they only want profit. Then you look elsewhere, the prices for these same games are significantly lower. So no, these prices are not decided by the market. If anything, the people who are buying from these resellers are people with lots of disposable money, their real target market. The type of people who don't care of what they pay for the games. And because of it, they are contributing to this problem. Regular people on the other hand can't afford these prices for games that were originally intended to be sold at affordable prices. But because resellers are making good money with their rip-off practices, it is effectively turning retro gaming into a costly luxury. Another point of contention is how the used games and consoles are incomplete from these resellers. In regards to DK Oldies, the console bundles they sell can be found cheaper elsewhere. Keep in mind that the bundles they sell include third-party controllers. To get the actual official controllers, they upsell you for something that should have been included from the start. If anything, the things they should upsell as add-ons are extension cables, HDMI adapters, stickers, and possibly high-quality wireless controllers like those from a Bado. When these consoles were released decades ago, they contained everything as they were supposed to. That means the box, console, official controllers, cables, and manual. DK Oldies is offering far less for an incomplete used console bundle at higher prices. In comparison, I bought a Super Famicom from Japan. It contains everything as described for less, $108.39 to be exact. I could have saved even more by going to another listing that didn't include the box. With the savings, I'd have enough left over to buy games, extension cables, and an HDMI adapter. That still would have been cheaper. Point is, the difference in savings to get everything in a console bundle is more than enough to look elsewhere. Same with the games too. They sold the game, box, and manual separately at high prices. To complete this game would be ludicrous because of the combined total, nearing very close to $100. This is not right at all. When the games were initially sold, they came packaged with everything for much less at retail price. Used games would be sold for less and incomplete because it is just the cartridge. Used disc-based games, however, usually contain everything on eBay. Cartridge-based games are a different story, but I cannot offer leniency here. This practice of selling the box and manual separately at high prices is clearly a shameless attempt to further financial gains. You'd have to spend more money to essentially get a complete package. On top of that, the images they use aren't a fair representation of what they sell. What I mean is, the images they use are generic and don't give buyers a fair idea of what to expect from the used products. Look at the listings from eBay. You can see the damages, blemishes, and overall condition of the listed product. In many cases, there are many photos from different angles to be transparent. The images used to showcase the product gives interested buyers an idea of what they should expect from the listing. But with DK Oldies and Phoenix Resale, they are using generic images for their used products. You don't truly know what to expect 100%. You surely aren't getting the game complete in box because the description outright says it's only the used cartridge and just that. Given the nature of used products, there could be scratches or pieces missing. The images DK Oldies and Phoenix Resale show don't give the consumers an idea until they make the purchase and ultimately received it. Maybe the plastic is worn out, perhaps the console they bought doesn't include the box or manual. The only thing you have to go by is the upsell of it being in good condition. Point is, consumers aren't getting the whole picture. These resellers are doing the bare minimum just to make a quick buck. I'd be dishonest if I didn't mention the listings with non-generic images on Phoenix Resale's behalf. He does have listings with actual pictures of the item being sold, but there is no justification to be selling them at higher prices. Which leads to my next point. It's about value. Whenever a reseller gets their hands on a game or console, they don't do much to justify the inflated price. Simply cleaning the console and testing the games is not good enough. Here's why. When houses get flipped, they get restored with new walls, flooring, and modern touch-ups, all of which adds value to the house. As a result, there is justification to selling the renovated house at higher prices. But for retro gaming, the same can't be said. Phoenix Resale is not adding value to his products. His listings will vary across the storefront when it comes to condition. You'll see some of the sticker labels are damaged or outright missing. It is being sold as is at higher prices. No value is added whatsoever. On top of that, the box, tray, and manual are not included either. The bare minimum that is cleaning and testing is done just to inflate the prices. These games are decades old and will eventually stop functioning somewhere down the line. The resellers want the customers to pay more for something that is clearly inflated. If anything, the higher prices are the result of greed, plain and simple. Phoenix Resale isn't doing anything that is close to adding value. New labels aren't added, nor is the plastic cartridge getting replaced. He just expects his followers and like-minded shills to play along to make a profit. These games didn't go for that much long ago until it did because these people wanted money. If they're going to raise the prices, the least they could do is to make sure that value is added. As for DK Oldies, they also suffer from this despite having videos of them cleaning the consoles. Remember, the games and consoles they sell don't have their original packaging. They also upsell good condition games, which implies that cosmetically flawed games are not getting restored. The fact that there is an asterisk to indicate that there is a chance that the Wii console they are selling is missing a GameCube port cover is wrong. Having customers to expect a subpar product and paying higher prices for it should not be a thing. This would be a good chance to add value by replacing the port covers with a completely new one. AliExpress sells them for very cheap. I'm sure they could try replacing the batteries for the games too. Soldering isn't a skill that many people have, and because of it, they could add value to their products. My point is, customers are already paying higher prices for retro games. They should expect for their products to be at their best condition. There are ways to go about adding value to games and consoles, and these resellers aren't doing it. This section will be the last because of how hard I need to drive this point home. Retro game resellers are destroying this hobby with their scalping antics. Retro gaming wasn't always expensive. In fact, it was on the more affordable side long ago. But because of resellers, they have artificially inflated the prices, encouraging others to do the same. Many of these games get sold for ridiculous prices because the resellers know they can control the prices even though they bought the games for far below than what they are selling it for. It is well known that Phoenix Resale engages in lopsided trades and deals for financial greed. His channel is filled with videos where he lowballs sellers and rips people off. One of the more notorious videos is of him trading a Switch bundle for an extremely valuable GameCube collection. The GameCube collection as a whole is worth far more than what Phoenix Resale offered, mind you. The fan may not be upset about the trade, but viewers were clearly disgusted, as was I. Given what his Amazon storefront is like, Phoenix Resale was going to sell those GameCube games at highly inflated prices. Take note of the Zelda games because they were sold at much higher prices in the storefront, as were the other games too. So once all was said and done, the fan was shafted in this trade, whereas Phoenix Resale got what he wanted in this lopsided deal. Phoenix Resale did not even bother to include the box for the Switch console, which he could have at least done. There's a reason why Phoenix Resale is notorious, and it's because his YouTube channel features him engaging lopsided deals. In fact, there's another video where he found NES games for dirt cheap. The entire package is being sold to him for $25. Mind you, the box contains more than 15 games and the seller was offering them for $2 each. That is a steal, and Phoenix Resale shamelessly tries to lowball the seller down to $10 for the whole package. The seller would deny it, but of course, Phoenix Resale still bought it, and as you can guess it, those games that he had bought went out to be sold at inflated prices. Just look at his Amazon storefront. Phoenix Resale isn't the only reseller to do this. There are many other resellers who do this very thing, where they buy games at affordable prices only to scalp them online. Lopsided deals like this are the norm for retro game resellers because it is how they operate. They act like vultures, being the first to buy all the games for cheap prevented actual interested gamers from owning it. They are very slimy about this and act nonchalantly because they know if they don't, others like them will get it instead. They prey on yard sales for this very reason. Even when offers are made, they will not price match because making profit is the first thing in their minds. If the roles were reversed between the reseller and seller, it is clear that resellers wouldn't offer low prices to sellers in return. Where I'm getting at here is these resellers are ruining retro gaming because they artificially inflate prices while at the same time making it difficult to collect old school games. It is very disgusting because those resellers are taking games out of circulation from consumers who want to buy them. They say they are gamers, but collect multiple copies of a game with the intent to scalp. They harass online sellers with their lowball antics because they don't want to pay fair and reasonable prices. People who do that ruin it for others, and it isn't right. Gaming is meant to be accessible and affordable. What these resellers are doing is outright criminal. It's quite infuriating because they do not care about the hobby itself. Given all that, I am done here. In case you have not noticed, I do not want to delve too much into call-out videos. I do not have an established reputation yet. I don't want to be typecast as an anti-reseller channel or that call-out guy. I do admit that the views and watch time for my first video were fantastic, but I need to focus on a bigger picture for myself. I want to focus on other topics related to gaming, as I have been doing for the last couple months. If I were to do something like this again, I will do it sporadically because there are consequences to building an audience based on drama content, and I would rather avoid it. I won't go into details, but that is my explanation. And besides, I get to expand the topics covered instead of being a niche channel. Other than that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If not, thanks anyways for watching.